Energized show, up the Irish.
Okay, what's going on, guys? And welcome to a brand new episode of Energized, brought to you by Forged Irish Stout. Ross,
are you intoxicated or something?
Introduce the guest, man.
We have. He is a father, a counsellor, an author, a fighter, a coach. He's everybody's favourite hooligan. It's Paddy Holohan. Paddy, how you doing, bud?
How he is getting on? Introduction like that's like the Swiss Army knife of Irish MMA or something. What?
Absolute legend, Paddy. Absolute legend. Thanks for coming on the show.
Pleasure to be here, lads. Pleasure.
No, great to have you on. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world of Paddy Holohan, coaching UFC fighters now, and then obviously coaching Team Ireland and Octagon as well. So a lot going on. Maybe we'll start off with the UFC bit. What did it mean for you to actually do that walk with Shauna in the UFC? That must have been something very special.
Yeah, that was incredible. Like, you know, like if you had told years ago, basically that like getting to the UFC and doing them things yourself, but then all of a sudden your students coaching is always something we've been massively passionate about. Even when our team was coming up, and it was always kind of like a part of the coaching team in a way, you know, for the youngers coming up. And also I've been obsessed with it, and that's what I did my qualifications in. So I love coaching. So to walk somebody out there in their big arena, especially someone like Shauna, you know what I mean? Just a quality athlete and a good person too, you know what I mean? It was an honor.
Yeah, Paddy, in the build up to the fight, like what, like how many messages and stuff were you getting? Because like Shauna was like being broadcasted everywhere. She was going all over BT on every social media. Like Connor was even posting her as well. Like what sort of vibe were you getting from the country?
I think that's just that Irishness, isn't it? It's that once you put that flag around your shoulders, I've always said it's not the weight of the material, but it's what it represents. That gets you, you know what I mean? And you got to lean into that. So my phone's on fire 24/7 all the time, you know what I mean? And I'd have to have it plugged into the wall all the time, no matter what as well. But like then seeing that shift with Shauna as well, it's like, and I tried to warn the guys or any of them, would you be saying to them, like, this is, there's many layers to this and many levels, and it's not all just about the skills part. It's about the mentality of being able to look after yourself and refill your well and not give too much, and deal with the fans as well, because the fans is so important. I used to try and get back to every single message. I swear, I don't think I've missed any. You know, like and you do hear people saying I've got millions of messages and I'll try and get back to you all. It's like, no, do get back to them all. You know, find a spot. Sit down for 2 hours, get back to them, and then being able to turn it off and turn it on is important.
I think that's why Paddy is an Irish legend, Ross.
Yeah, absolutely. Paddy has always been known as a man of the people, and I think always will be known as a man of the people. And like, look, obviously, especially you know yourself, you've headlined in Dublin. Like that fight week can be draining. What was the difference between you, or what difference did you see between you headlining in Dublin versus Shauna making her debut? Being a coach and being a fighter, because like probably at times the anxiety levels are higher being a coach than they were going out there fighting yourself.
Yeah, they say UFC Dublin obviously was a crazy week, you know, and there's some stuff even leading up to that I was just kind of like breathe down and keep going, you know what I mean? The whole world ended up on my shoulders on a few days' notice at the main event, and it's like, am I going to take that opportunity? Absolutely, I'm going to take that opportunity, because it's bigger than that. It's about legacy. Then you know what I mean. It's about like I think I'm probably the only one or two Irish men to do it, a UFC main event. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Have you ever heard of Conor McGregor? Have you?
Have I ever met Conor?
No, have you ever heard of him?
What?
Because he's the other one. He's the other fella who
headlines.
Who could have guessed?
I was like, ever met him? I was like, yeah, about once or twice. You know, yeah. But then seeing Shauna walking out, obviously, when you're fighting yourself, it's you have your hands on, you have the ability to be able to affect the next situations. And when I'm coaching a fighter, I try not to be trying to tell them too much, and like, because if I was thinking about a fight, my own fight or something like that, thoughts will come up basically of like, oh yeah, actually I never thought about this, and how am I going to deal with that? How am I going to handle that? And sometimes that happens in the week, and I'm trying to prioritize the ones that I'm saying to the fighter of like, listen, just try and make a little reserve for this moment if it happens, in not just in the fight but in the week leading up to it. So I'd said to Shauna, don't just watch fights, watch some walkouts, watch some people making that walk for the first time, and look at their body language and try and study a little bit of that as well. You know what I mean? Because it's like jumping out of an airplane. You're flying up, and then that door opens, and then all of a sudden it gets a little bit closer, and and anything can happen. So be ready for whatever comes down that hill when you're on that battlefield, when it's fight day. So Shauna spoke about this, obviously, when we got to the dressing room. You sat about there straight away, and it took like 35 minutes or something to do a test, and like, you can't account your mind for that stuff. And does it kind of knock you off? Yeah, absolutely you can. It just, that wasn't planned for, in a way. And how could you plan for it? You know what I mean? But it's not, no excuses or anything like that, but try and prepare yourself for like a pair of gloves, a gum shield, and whatever comes down that hill, you are ready for it. At the next day, go back to being normal. You know what I mean? But be ready for war, a battlefield, basically.
Yeah. Paddy, she obviously shone like a star all week, and the coverage over here was unbelievable from the whole country, and then everyone was tuning in. And like, just going into the fight, then, like, going through the 3 rounds, it was obviously a decision at the end. What way did you sort of see the fight? And also, Virgin Media were showing the fight itself, but when it went to the end of a round, they'd go to an ad. They wouldn't show you coming in and speaking. So, fortunately, UFC Fight Pass showed everything. But like, I felt like the advice you gave was pretty good. But what was your overall assessment of the fight itself?
I think it's just kind of getting off the mark it was at the start. That's always it getting started, you know what I mean? Sometimes people start in the first round or the second round. So I had us down the first round, so I'd said to Shauna, I didn't say it to her, but it's probably the first time that Shauna never asked me. Shauna says to me, did I win that round? You know, with that one, it was just basically straight, like, listen, we need to start letting the shots fly. We need to start like throwing the shots that we've worked on for this year. Bruno Brazil is kind of like that long, patient, lean back left check hook, basically, is what she does as people rush forward. So all the kids coming in from school now. And there's millions of them.
I know, man. Did you have your 10th there the other day? Congrats.
You wouldn't even know now. It's like, who are you? Where you live here? But the Irish, there's a lean left hook, you know what I mean? So some of the shots, Sean is in there for the kill. She the fight flight or freeze. She fights all of the time, you know. And I think it's just about honing it down to a few of the shots that actually fit and click, you know. So right hand roll would have been a great shot. Right hand roll, body kick, keeping the back that pillar up and marching forward with the jab, basically. The pillar being able to block the left hook, you know. So I think any of the significant shots. There he is. He's saying hello. You want to say hello?
Hey guys, how's it going?
This one is the real hooligan. Show me your hands up. Say hands up. Show him hands up. Hands up. Hey, dush.
This is legendary. Is this the kid's first ever podcast as well? This is an exclusive.
He's going to be the one. I'm telling you, Fela is going to be the one.
I love it.
So that would be my assessment of it, you know. And it's a big stage, but like, now it wasn't a fight where like Sean was swept away either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a close fight. And the judging of it sometimes, if you actually look at the shots, Shauna lands 50 more shots than Bruno Brazil in the fight. And I know people come down to the significant strikes, but I think Bruno only lands one more significant strike as well in the fight. So it just depends where them shots were landed. Maybe some of the takedown scored. But then looking at Davy Grant's fight that night, I don't know. So sometimes it's like a good judging panel, and then sometimes it's like, you know, Davy Grant's fight was definitely didn't go Davy's way, and it should have went Davy Grant's way. So it was a close fight, Shauna's fight. You know what I mean? It could have kind of maybe spilled either way. It was a few shots the difference between the win there.
Yeah, I felt like she got better as the rounds went on, but it was heartbreaking to see Ross.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. And like also like I couldn't actually believe the size of the party as well. It almost made me feel like, Jesus, Shauna's gonna have to go down to play Antaway. When I saw her, she was so tall, Bruno Brazil, I couldn't believe it. She was huge. But look, as you said, as the rounds went on, Shauna really came into her own. Again, like she's so young in her career. I think obviously some people want to criticize someone after they lose, especially on a UFC scale. You know what I mean? People are dying to jump on and criticize them. But like at the end of the day, she's 6 fights into her pro career. She has the UFC gloves on.
Yeah, sorry lads, had to change the old studio. You know what I mean? It's a bit mad in that house sometimes.
We didn't notice, Paddy. We didn't notice.
You should bounce around with a bit of crack sometimes. I'm telling you, it's madness. It is.
The kettle's always on.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bruno was big. I'd met her outside the hotel basically. Shook her hand, and she didn't look that big. But after the weigh-in, she definitely came in at a bigger size. Now, I think even Shauna grappled her, to be honest, even though that size difference was there. I think any of the clinches that happened, obviously she got a really good head on the inside trip takedown. But I think Shauna held her own in the clinch. You know what I mean? She landed more shots in the clinch, and I don't think she had any kind of trouble with her being bigger. But yeah, she was definitely bigger.
Paddy, after the fight, like, what was the sort of conversation after? Because like knowing Shauna, she always wants to be back in there. Was she like, here, I want to be back in next week?
Yeah, that's always Shauna. You know what I mean? I think it's just trying to slow it down now. Basically, I'm trying to say to her, like, just you're in a really good place now. You know what I mean? And the idea of like when you're fighting in the UFC, you can get like financially stable from sponsors and that kind of stuff outside, and like you can get better on the job as well. Do you know what I mean? So getting in there, feeling the feeling of what's actually going on, and then and being able to improve. You know what I mean? Being able to kind of move around, and like she's gone out to Thailand for 3 weeks and stuff, and do a little bit. She's out there with Molly and do some good boxing training by the looks of it and stuff, and that's it. You just kind of hone into what you can do. Where sometimes when you're on the scene, it's everyone's swimming. You know what I mean? You haven't hit dry land yet, so my advice to her is just to like try and slow it down a little bit, and let's improve that tiny little bit on some of the stuff that we need to do, and then get in there and go again, you know. So Shauna's a scrapper, you know what I mean, and she's a good person, and you can see it, everyone can see it, you know what I mean. She has the ability to be a superstar in there, so that's the main thing. And then it's just guiding that ship as well as a whole other string to your bow.
If one of us goes to war, we all go to war.
Yeah. As the man says.
That's it. In fairness, just to finish off on that, loads of people have gone in and lost their UFC debut and then gone on to become world champions. I don't think he lost the UFC debut, but like, look at Sean Strickland, like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone counted him out, and look where he is now. Like, he's walking around with the world champ. Now, obviously, he's a bit of an odd character, but like, people doubted him on a skill level many a time. They said he could never beat the big one, and like, he went in and did it there over the weekend. So, you know what I mean? Like, this is a game, as you said, Paddy, you can definitely learn on the job.
100%. He's like that Philly shell jab cross extravaganza.
Yeah.
But that's like,
how simple do you want it?
In the midst of it, you know what I mean? That idea, like, and you can see that he spars a lot because, like, the idea of just being in there and staying going. Like, I think Masvidal had the same situation basically in the UFC as well. It was around for ages and then had 2 golden years, you know, and that's what it is about. This is the entertainment business as well. So get in there, bite down on your gum shield, and go for it. You know what I mean? Go for that guy, and that's just my opinion on it. You know, and be yourself. That's the most important thing. Be yourself. I remember promising to myself, "You'll never ever you're yourself, Paddy. That's what you have to be. This game's not going to change it. You're still going to be Paddy Holohan at the end of this, and that's it. That's the most important part."
That was actually very well said, Paddy. Have you got, like, just before we wrap things up on the UFC front, like a lot of the fighters would tune in and watch the stuff. I'm sure a load of them be tuned in watching you now. Like, what you have to say because like we were on the Irish MMA scene, especially going into the UFC, was on such a high. Everyone was getting signed, and now the most recent fighters have lost. What would you sort of say to them now? Because you're obviously a legend of the game. Like, what would you sort of say to them now, looking into their future fights and careers?
Well, I've stood in that position. I've been in a position where I had a loss and I was going into a fight maybe again where maybe another loss would have been your contract and stuff like that. What I would say is, fuck that. Fuck all of that. Do you know what I mean? All that means nothing. Rip that apart from the outside. Get back into the gym. Listen to your coaches. Rip out a few of the weeds or whatever you feel around that time or whatever's kind of creeped in. It doesn't make you feel and feel good. Be happy. That's the most important thing. Happy fire is dangerous fire, you know, and the past, the future, nothing matters. Get your game ready, train hard, and walk through that door the next time and go for it. Leave everything out there. Be willing to wake up in the dressing room and say, what the fuck happened, basically, you know? Go with that kind of intent, you know? Obviously not running forward with your chin up, but you fight hard, you know what I mean? Be willing to, and picture yourself, visualize yourself in difficult situations as well, because it's very easy to be in the gym and be shadowboxing and you're winning every exchange and you're slipping everything, and don't, you know what I mean? When you're shadowboxing, picture yourself getting dropped maybe and how you're going to react to that, or picture yourself getting taken down and how you're going to react to that, you know, stuck in a submission, how you're going to react to that. So prepare your mind, fortify your mind.
I love it.
Paddy, you're an absolute legend,
We
bro.
thought that was a joke over a second.
You're a legend,
No,
bro.
Paddy, that was actually great advice. People would love to hear that as well, and it's great to hear from someone who's been there and done it. So fair play to Paddy.
But yeah, Ross, by the way, he was talking about you with the shadow boxing.
I'm undefeated when it comes to shadow boxing. Paddy, tell us this: Octagon challenge, Team Ireland versus Team England. How did this all come about?
Yeah.
Because this looks like it's going to be wild, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Popcorn in hand, baby. Popcorn in hand.
I got a phone call saying, do you want to go out to Slovakia and coach Team Ireland versus Team England? I'm in. You know,
That's all it took.
I watched a few of the episodes, but listen, before we even start there, the two guys, Andre and Pavel, basically, and the team around there, like, that was one of the things that when I got there, I was like, wow, these guys are really like creative and like normal and like fly to meetings like on private, like not private jets. They fly the jet or they fly wherever they're in. I didn't
Really?
know all this stuff about the guys, you know what I mean? And I have to say, I was blown away. Hats off to the lads, what they're doing at Octagon, and the idea is like they take things on as a challenge. I love that. You can see it in them. It's like, well, we will do it, you know, that way, and they're doing it. So yeah. We brought the family out to Slovakia, and they were such a good show to work with. They were. I kind of wanted to bring my family with me because I just didn't want to leave for a month, and it was in the summer, and I just wanted my family with me basically, and they were all over the idea. So they let me bring my family out and stuff like that, and yeah, it was brilliant. It was just such an incredible experience.
And like, what sort of way did it work first? Like, because obviously Brad Pickett's also one of the coaches, the English coach. Like, did they start off picking the coaches first and then the fighters, or what sort of way did it go around, Paddy?
I don't really know. I'd be lying if I told you that. I know there was an opportunity for an Irish fighter basically to get on, so they needed an Irish fighter, and I had a good thing about myself, and there was someone I rang, and I gave them the opportunity basically. I think they needed it at that time in their life, and and they grabbed it with their both hands, and they went for it, you know.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about it, Paddy. The fighters that are going to be representing Team Ireland, from Dennis Frimpong, Aaron McDonald, who else we have here, Matthew Elliott, and the Armin Herzig. Like, did you pick these lads? I know Shamrock is also going to be helping out, and he's going to be coaching Team Ireland as well. But like, did you pick these fighters? How did that sort of come about as well?
No, we didn't. I picked one of them basically. So I said one of them that they needed that space filled, and Shamrock was already there and stuff like that. Was one of the first things people had said, like, you're gonna Shamrock's gonna be an assistant coach and stuff, and I was like, deadly, you know. So I kind of knew Shem from being around. He's a good lad.
You were like, leave the family at home then. Shem's coming, it's grand.
And you're used to those scousers, Paddy.
I think I'm half scouse, I do. I really do. I think it's in me there somewhere, you know what I mean? So, yeah, if I had to bring anybody or any nationality, it'd be a scouse, and I'd bring them somewhere, you know what I mean? And anyway, but I didn't know him like personally, but I knew Shem from being around Collie Matten in the shows, and I'd met him and stuff, and like that guy is an incredible story himself. So it was a pleasure to coach alongside him, and then he's going to be an absolute superstar as well. You can see it in him, you know. He's got the dedication, he's got all of the skills as well. So I'm so excited to see how far Shem goes. You know what I mean? So it was great to see that, and then you have the other lads. You know what I mean? So a mad little three or that little four for Newport or whatever that is. What's four?
Yeah,
a quadruple.
A quadrant is it? But anyway, the four lads then as well. So, do you know what? My main thing was when I went out there as a coach was like, I wasn't able to go out there in the little time and give them all of the skills. Maybe a few little bits of skills and But to be affecting that game in 4 weeks is probably far-fetched. So my thing was to make sure that all of the ranks were animated at the same way, in a way. So to make sure that we had this camaraderie between us, you know what I mean? One man in behind the other, one man in behind the flag, you know, representing something that's bigger than ourselves, and being a little bit of the underdog. Like the English team were no slouches, you know. So, and I made sure I said this to the lads at the start, you know what I mean? They're in that other dressing room and they think that they are better than us. They think that they're going to walk through this, you know, and it's up to you to make sure that they don't walk through it. When they look out across in that cage when that door closes, they see your face and you're like, not today, no fucking way. I think someone explained this about like Sean Strickland the other day, and just looking over and being like, oh shit, you know, and I know that look. I've seen it, I've been there, I've done it, I've seen it myself, you know. So it's like, it's important to turn up with that, like that spiritually ready, and that was my main thing with the team, is to make sure that they were spiritually ready. So we warm up, we listen to some tunes, some Irish tunes, and have a bit of crack in the gym, and drill and do what we can, you know.
We don't do it buts or maybes, like we do absolutes.
The show's going to be run for 8 weeks long on Channel 4 every Tuesday evening. Paddy, what do we have to sort of look forward to this? Because we've seen like whitewater rafting, like change wheels of cars, like shooting stuff. Like what do we have in store for us? Yeah,
there's some madness coming down the hill, that's for sure. You couldn't have wrote the script of this, like, and the two lads have done a few of these shows, Pavel and Andre, and they said like even this was the best one by far, you know, because it's pure. None of it was really staged. None of it staged or put on or any of that stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not into that, and like I just make sure I said that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I was just myself. I know the lads were a lot of themselves. I told them obviously this is going on television, so look after yourself. You know what I mean? And make sure you're not saying things as a joke that won't be taken up as a joke, because we live in a fairly fragile world, you know. So if you want to say something, make sure you think about it and then say it. So yeah, but it was safe to say that the Irish tortured the English lads. The English lads were sound as well, so you got on with them as well. There was 2 Scousers on that as well. So we was trying to say to them, like, are you English or are you Scouts? You know, which one are you? But listen, they were all sound, and then obviously you have Brad. Brad is a legend, you know what I mean? But Brad's with the banter, but I don't think he's up to that level, you know what I mean? I think
he's not quite Irish level.
Yeah, is he not quite on that level?
Not of the Irish level. He's like kind of like pull your pants down, jump out on you kind of level, and that's it. The pot's empty, you know. So but Brad got a lot of that as well. He got a lot of his own backfired on him, and there was some moments that I'm sure he doesn't want to make here. But I hope they do.
No, I'm sure everyone's going to make sure to be checking that out. Paddy, is there anyone you could tell us to keep a certain eye on? Because there's a lot of characters in that house like that makes it so funny. But is there anyone in particular that people should definitely be keeping an eye out for on Octagon Challenge, coming out on Tuesday the 12th, premiering on Channel 4?
Well, I'll pick one off each team, because that'd be fair, wouldn't it? Yeah. And I think I was pretty fair with both teams. You know what I mean? So we didn't.
And you can't pick yourself now, Paddy.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, can I pick? So I would say Dennis Frimpong off the Irish team, basically, and then Bo Gavin off the English team. So Bo's a little scouse, a little tough motherfucker, and then Dennis Frimpong has a level of, I don't even know what to call
Shithousery.
Is that what it is? Shithousery, but
yeah. Man, handsomeness as well.
He's good at it. That's what it is. He's a level. He goes deep now. Probably not as deep as I would go myself, but So
I'm not gonna lie, Paddy. Dennis Frimpong is probably the last person on this earth I'd want to live in the house with as an enemy.
What about me, man? The dirt I have in you, man.
I think even by the end of it, even all the lads had to come. We had to fly back. We did, and Brad Pickett had to fly back with the Irish lads. And I think Dennis was the only lad who wasn't there because he had to fly from Manchester or whatever happened. And anyway, but I can recall him and remember him saying, like, I was just fucking glad Dennis wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Carry on.
Yeah, so it was just like, different level of banter, and not only that, the man can fight. American fight, which is the main thing, you know what I mean? And then I would pick, as I said, Bo off the other side, who would probably be the dark horse on the English team. But there's some levels of fights that went on here as well. Like this was like turning up, and there was like one fight on that day till it got to the semi-finals. And there's 2 fights, but the one fight, like you're turning up, and it's like this is madness, you know. And the boys are going for that. And there was some cracking fights, like fights that when you see them, you're going to be like, oh my god, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the format for the show, Paddy? Is it going to be 2 5-minute rounds or 3 5-minute rounds for the fights?
It was 2 5-minute rounds. Yeah, no, 3 5-minute rounds as far as I remember. Yeah, in the first one, but no elbows. And then in the semi-finals, there was elbows in the fights basically. So it's just so people could get there. Then,
no cuts.
No cuts. You know what I mean? No big cuts. No stuff like that. So so when I got to the elbows as well, that could have added a whole new weapon to the arsenal. But make sure you tune in and get behind the Irish lads and the Scouts lads, and you know anybody else that was there. That was like it takes a lot of people to make up something like that with the staff and the cameraman and everybody else, and then obviously Andre and Pavel who made it all happen.
Yeah, and then you'll probably want to do it again for another season. Just before we wrap things up, you make sure to check it out. It's going to be on every Tuesday for 8 weeks, and the finale will then go down on Manchester on the 4th of November. Would you be there on the 4th of November as well, Paddy?
Yes, I'm going to try to get out there for the 4th of November. Now the lads are with their own coaches basically, obviously for that, which I think is the good idea. So I think we've kind of shepherded them to as far as they can go, and we'll definitely be there for the final and cheering it on and probably just enjoying the show, you know what I mean, in that way. So I'm looking forward to these. I don't know if you've seen some of the shows that the stadiums that what the guys do. It's like the circus comes to town or something. Octagon's there, you know. So
we saw the Prague one. We saw the Prague one there recently. It was off the rails.
Off the rails.
Yeah, no, Octagon do an unbelievable show. I love the way they're really branched into the Irish and UK market as well. It's great to have another player in that market as well. And I can't wait for the show. At first, I thought this was going to be like sort of an Ultimate Fighter sort of type show, but then when I saw them like whitewater rafting and all the actual challenges that they have to do, I was like, geez, this is wild. Like this is next level, nuts. And I can't wait to see it. And again, like, you know, you have 4 massive Irish characters in there, and like that, you know, it gives you a real, like you said, they have the camaraderie in there, but like it gives the Irish MMA scene a real chance to like get behind these guys and really support them because they also come from 4 different gyms as well. So that's great to see as well. Yeah,
it's a great showing of basically of Irish MMA. You know what I mean? It's a good split, and it's kind of like, I don't know if you were to say what is Irish MMA, you know, it's a north, it's the south, it's the, you know what I mean, it's the Cavan man, which is Dennis and stuff, you know, and then a little sprinkle there of Scouts are with Shamrock, you know what I mean. He will not stand behind that English flag. He wants the Irish flag on, which is hats off to you, man.
And Paddy, just before we wrap things up, what was your favorite moment of the entire of being on the show?
Outside, say maybe the show and this kind of stuff. There's a little place called Samarin is where this is. It's a little town in Slovakia. My Jobstown ass probably would have never ever been there other for this, you know. He wouldn't have known about it. But this is a place that we'd actually go back to. It was really, really nice. It felt really free or something like that, you know. It just felt I don't know, it felt like Ireland in the 90s. That's what it felt like. I can't explain it. But it was just really nice, you know. So being there, strolling around in the neighbourhood, maybe going into the local and having a pint, you know what I mean? It was pretty cool. It was pretty kind of different, you know. But and then on the show, obviously, there's so many different moments, and I don't want to give any of them away. But for me personally, just being able to stroll around Samarin and a funny time actually is. All right, I'll give you one story on it.
Here we go.
One story, right? So we had to stay in like an apartment basically in Bratislava the night before. So we came down to the lobby, and this is the first time I'd met Brad there. Obviously I met Brad loads of times before, but I met him there. And we're waiting on a lift basically, and the boat was like giving car keys each. Alright, so we're like, what the fuck? So like we have to drive ourselves here, basically. And you know, the girl on the flower hanger is like, yes, you gotta drive yourself. I'm like, right, Brad, this is the first challenger, right? So you're driving on the wrong side of the road, on the wrong side of the car with a gear shift, basically, right?
Yeah.
So we're jumping out into Slovakia into the motorway traffic, right? It was a bit ropey to say the first time, you know what I mean? I didn't know whether the left lane was the speeding lane or whatever which lane was going on, and yeah, there was a few ropey times, but but we won. That's the most important part. We won.
You beat him there.
We got the summer in first.
Yeah, you know what they say, Paddy, drive it like you stole it, you know what I mean? So
Oh, we drove it like it was stolen.
And one more for the bad guy.
Well, we're obviously up for Team Ireland. Paddy, we want to thank you very much for coming on the show. We know you're you've loads of things to be doing, and we really appreciate your time every time you come on. We look forward to having you back on the show again soon. Ross, before we give Paddy the last words, is there anything else you have to say to the hooligan?
now, just thanks a million for coming on. Thanks for being an absolute legend of Irish MMA, and thanks for giving out those words of wisdom, and for promoting the show going forward as well, because that Octagon challenge looks like it's going to be some crack.
Yeah,
Can't wait
it's
for
wild, man. It's wild. Yeah, Paddy, do you have anything else to say to everyone tuning in as well?
No, just make sure you tune in, enjoy it. Hopefully it's one of them situations that somebody's looking forward to it every week. Because I know that I'm a sucker for that. You know what I mean? To be continued. They better say that at the end of every episode. And if they don't,
they can just clip this part in.
Absolutely. To be continued. That's the way it has to start at the end of it, you know? Because when you were a kid and that happened in a cartoon, that was the longest week of your life.
Exactly, man.
I heard Dennis Rimpong's already in talks, got his own spin-off show.
I would not be surprised. Yeah? The Frimpongs show, what you call it, you know what I mean?
Oh my god. Okay.
Fighting with Frimpongs.
Catching up with the Frimpongs. Yeah. They should put him and morning breakfast in a house together, and they have to live there for a week.
Let's see if we get how we get past episode 1 before we do any more crazy spin-offs, Ross. But Paddy, thanks a million for tuning in. But for everyone tuning in, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Make sure to check out Octagon Challenge this Tuesday on Channel 4. Ross, take us away, bud.
Thanks a million, guys. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always, stay energized.
Energized show, up the Irish. Been sussing you guys a couple of times. I've seen a couple of clips. I think you've done some interviews with Dylan Moran and that I saw. So keep going, keep up the good work, guys.